Okay, can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Those at the back, can you hear me? Okay, so what we do is that we will first get into this gate, and then somewhere inside there are lawns. So on one of the lawns we will sit there, and then what we'll do is that we will do a very quick Vajra moon practice, and then after that we will see, first we will do a teaching on chapter 25 of Nagarjuna's text from Fundamental Wisdom of the Middle Way. So you see that, so this is the place, this, I would say this was the place where this text which we are going to study was actually written, studied by the later the students, and then became brilliant scholars, and on that basis they practiced, and then the mental cleansing started. Gate, paragate, all happened because of that, and then many became highly great realizers, or they say the realized saints, on the basis of this insight into the ultimate reality, emptiness of objective existence. So this is the place. So this is what we're going to do, and then still, if time permits, then we're going to read the they say how Lama Tsongkhapa, who followed the tradition of the very Nalanda University style, where he studied so extensively all the various texts, all written in Nalanda University. So by reading that spiritual revelation of his own spiritual experiences, from there you will see how extensively he learned the different treatises composed in Nalanda University here, and then in the middle how he practiced the various treatises again written here in Nalanda University, and finally how he put all these learnings and reflections into the meditation. So all these, you will see that these will give us inkling as to what was really going through here in Nalanda University when it was so alive. So in a way, once more, let me say that while there's so many hundreds and thousands of visitors here, but then people who are really involved to explore what kind of thoughts, what kind of brilliant thoughts were being developed here. So not much kind of such exposure here, simply coming here, or the ruins here, it was a glorious Nalanda at one point, maybe up to that point. Whereas what we're going to do here is on behalf of all those who are coming here, all those who came here, all those who are coming here, on behalf of them, we're going to see how much we can, to the best we can, first to see what was really happening here by reading through Lama Tsongkhapa's revelation of his experiences, the incredible depth of the extensive studies, what kind of the treatises that he studied, and these treatises were actually written here in this Nalanda University. One, and then the text which we're going to study, Mula Madhyamika Kharika, Mool means root. Rhode Institute. Rhode Institute. In fact, this, even the name of the center, Rhode Institute, was given as a part of the root wisdom, fundamental wisdom, root wisdom. So this is also one thing we need to keep in Rhode Institute. What is root? Why root? Root is just a part of the name of the text which Nagarjuna wrote here in this Nalanda University, which we're going to study here. And actually in those days, like say 2000 years ago, it was so extensively studied by the monastic members. They debated, they meditated, they explored. So this is what we're going to replicate here today. And let us all pray that your two kind parents, all your family members, all sentient beings, and everyone who came here, who are here, who will come here, they will eventually come to discover this this incredible hidden treasure of the wisdom of emptiness, which the Buddha Shakyamuni taught, and then later Ara Nagarjuna commented upon and just explicated this, fleshed out so succinctly and clearly. So this is what we're going to do here, chapter 24 of Mula Madhyamin Karika. So in itself we see that it's very holistic, and since that we already did on the emptiness concept pretty well, so now going there it will be very easy for me to go through it pretty quickly. Otherwise, usually if it just a fresh introduction, it might take me another 3 days to complete that chapter, but hopefully we can finish that within like say maybe 30 or 40 minutes. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So meanwhile, as we go there, maybe say Namgyala here, and then say Ansi, you brought those things there, so we can put up the altar there, small altar there. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, we start walking inside. Thank you.
Shobit. bigger one next
Hello. Okay. What we do is that now, please just take a seat. Take a seat, sit comfortably wherever you like. So it should be around here. So keep in mind that this is altar spot, and then you can sit accordingly. Wherever you like, you will sit there.
Lisa, where are you?
Who else is the green bag behind you? Espen, can you pass it to me? What is that?
Where are you?
Oh,
Lisa?
what else is the other? Yes.
Yeah. Ở piano kia là đúng không?
Really?
Really?
Okay, Venerable Angela, come here. Okay. So if possible, don't sit on the bridge there. We never know what these bricks are. We never know what these bricks are. So try best to sit on the lawn.
Do you want to sit here?
Okay, Elu, Venerable, come here. Venerable Sabine, you come here. And Elu, Paloma, you can come here. Okay, those, let's not be too scattered. You can be closer towards me. Closer towards me so that you will take all of us towards Buddhahood. Okay. Again, Geshe. Sabine, come here. Can you hear me? Those at the back can hear me? Okay. First, before we... Otherwise, the one alternative thing to do is first make 3 prostrations. So towards this direction, we have the picture of the Buddha, it's holding the Dalai Lama, and the building. Can you hear me? A little louder. Okay, can you hear me? Ajirji, can you hear me? Okay, good. And the big structure in front of us. Big structure in front of us is, as far as I come to know from someone else, it was the library. And then I'll explain a little more after making the prostrations. Okay, 3 prostrations, and imagining that all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas there, and your two grandparents, all the emerald sentient beings with you making prostrations. Like the practice which you've been doing every morning, say there are several candles, and I don't know whether there's enough candles for everyone, but we can light the candles and see however many people can do that. Let's do that. And then others just feel that you are lighting the lamp of the wisdom, lighting the lamp of Bodhicitta, for all the emerald sentient beings. Okay, come. Venerables first. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the living beings. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of peace. I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. Come, others. Buddhas of directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the hidden mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries through. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries through. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries through. For all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. Thank you. Take your seats. Bodhicitta, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and say particularly the Nalanda masters such as Arjuna, then Aridev, then Arya Sangha, then Acharya Chandrakirti. These will come to, you will be very familiar with them very soon. Acharya Chandrakirti, and then Bodhisattva Shantideva, then say Acharya Adishatipangara Shirigana. Adishatipangara Shirigana is believed that it is believed that he was from here as well as from Virakamalashila University, which is maybe about like 12 hours distant from here. Okay, then how you visualize them? And then all them in the light of great compassion and affection towards you, and yourself surrounded by two kind parents and all of family members and all dear sentient beings. And how you visualize so affectionate, all these great beings are so affectionate towards you, and you are very affectionate towards all dear sentient beings. And purpose of this practice was actually accomplished by many saints here in this university, in this Nalanda University. It was actually accomplished in this very place. So many Vyas beings came out of this Gati, Paragati, Parasangati, Buddhism. It was not just reciting the mantras. In fact, the people, they actually went through these experiences, Gati, here in this very place. Okay, and we are very fortunate. We are so very fortunate that we are kind of rekindling the light of the Nalanda legacy here today. With that in mind, let's quickly go through the refuge and the Bodhicitta, page 7. Imagine all sentient beings are joining you and your two kind parents. And even though you may not say relationship with your parents may not be as good, don't worry. Just keep them in your mind. And all sentient beings, everyone to whom you feel so close, and everyone, just bring them in your mind. They are joining you and you are leading this. And all these great Bodhicitta, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the great Indian Nalanda Panditas, the scholars, saints, they're all just watching us what we are doing now. They feel so proud. The moment that they see this in such the state of ruin, they feel so sad. Now, at the same time, they are seeing that people, they come here to rekindle the legacies of Nalanda University. They were so proud, so happy with their mind, as though like we are telling them that we are so grateful to all of you, to all the great Indian and the past Nalanda Pandits, the scholars, the saints, that you left such a great legacy. Now we are able to have them, and because of which our emotional states can be changed, because of which because of which our basic state, the perfect state of the ultimate source of happiness can be activated, and it is all because of the very compassionate Buddha Shakyamuni, and then later on further explained by Aranagarjuna and all these great Indian masters. We should be feeling so grateful to them and pray that, okay, although it is in a state of ruin at the moment, but we will rekindle it. It doesn't matter, we'll rekindle this, and eventually we will bring back the light of the Nalanda University in the form of the wisdom of emptiness and the Bodhicitta, very profound wisdom of emptiness. Why not? We recreate this everywhere in the world, everywhere in the universe. Just imagine, assume such a sense of confidence that I will replicate this whole Nalanda University which existed, say 1,000 years ago. I will replicate them through my power of through achieving the state of professional love, professional knowledge, and professional power, and replicate this everywhere in the entire universe. Okay, with that in mind, let's say, page 7. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for Dharma and Sangha by
Sangye Jodang Soge Jonamna Chanjo Bado Tane Kyasu Che Bage Jinso Kebe Sonan Jola Benju Sangye Dubara Sho Sangye Jodang Soge Jonamna Chanjo Bado Tane Kyasu Bage Jinso Kebe Sonan Ge Jola Benju Sangye Dubara Sho Sangye Jodang Soge Jonamna Chanjo Bado Jinso Kebe Sonan Ge Jola Benju Sangye Dubara Sho Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Dathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Eva Mati Mahashramana Esva Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashramana Esva Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashramana Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes is well as taught by the great seer. Okay. And now what we do is that we will go to Fundamental Wisdom, the Middle Way, chapter 24. Where is it? Page 97. Okay, page 97. Chapter 24. Chapter 24. Chapter 24, page 97. Page 97. Okay. So this
this chapter is very comprehensive, and the title is Examination of the Four Noble Truths. It is not really talking about Four Noble Truths. So it is talking about the emptiness, ultimate reality. So discussion is being made that is more like the discussion happening between Aranigarjuna, revered as the second Buddha, revered as second Buddha, and in terms of the say Mahayana teachings, and he was actually he was prophesied by the Buddha Shakyamuni himself during the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni, and okay, say during such occasions when the fire tends to flare up, it is considered very auspicious. Yeah, it's considered very auspicious. Yeah. At one point, what happened 2 years ago, when the same program was happened in Bodhicitta Park in Delhi, His Holiness, we invited His Holiness for the program, and then a huge fire was just happening in front of the main statue of the Buddha, the big statue of the Buddha, and His Holiness is being very practical. He said that it is considered so auspicious when something started blazing. At the same time, we should make sure that nothing is damaged. Okay, so it's a very auspicious indication. Okay. So what is being, keep in mind that we have just about 40 minutes. We have just about 40 minutes, and we'll do it okay, to the best I can. Okay, let's finish. Let's see if I can finish this. So basically, if I give you the background, it will be much easier and faster. The background is that, say, it is the discussion. Superficially, it was a discussion between Aranigarjuna, who was holding the view of Madhyamika, which means the highest Buddhist school. And then the discussion was between Aranigarjuna and the lower Buddhist schools. In those days, in Nalanda here, it was not that what we are doing. Oh, the highest Buddhist school is Prasankhya, and there's a lower school. So what philosophy you're holding? I'm not Prasankhya philosopher. This is how we would say. But in those days here, it's not like that. It was not like that. So people follow their own teachers, and the teachers may be following different traditions, different philosophical schools. So in those days, there was a heated discussions happening among the different philosophers. So Aranigarjuna holding the view of Madhyamikas, and then the lower schools holding the view that things are objectively real, and Aranigarjuna saying that things are all dream-like, everything is just subjectively real. Then the lower schools, and although this was a discussion between these two schools, but don't take that as a discussion amongst the philosophers. Take that as a discussion within your own mind. What we are learning now is we are bringing in the wisdom of emptiness, and the kind of the philosophical or the kind of the basic principle on which all our thinking, all our thoughts were based earlier, were all based on a belief that things exist objectively, right? So now, what we are seeing here should be a debate between what we are learning now and what was an earlier belief system, thinking that things are all objectively real. Now coming to know that things are empty of objective reality. So this should be the discussion that we should keep in mind happening within ourselves. So now with this, the lower schools, or say the belief that things exist objectively. So from their point of view, if things don't exist objectively, now look, this should be the view that we need to keep in mind. how the non-believers, how those who believe in objective existence, they posit their view. They think that if things don't exist objectively, then things should be subjectively existent. If things are subjectively existent, then things should be imaginary. If things are imaginary, then on the imaginary level, there is no arising, there is no ceasing. Arising and ceasing. The phenomenon of arising, the phenomenon of ceasing is impossible if things are just imaginary. If there is no arising and no ceasing, say the sun rises and the sun sets, and say the flowers blossom and the flowers wither, this phenomena will become non-existent. Then the cause-effect relationship will become non-existent. If there is no cause-effect, then the Four Noble Truths is not possible. Because Four Noble Truths, the first Noble Truth is the result, and the second Noble Truth is the cause. The truth of the suffering and truth of the cause of suffering. So the first two truths become impossible. And then likewise the third truth and the fourth truth will become impossible. Because it is by dependence on the fourth truth of the path leading to cessation, that the third truth, which is truth of the cessation, coming into being, becomes impossible. Without which, the Four Noble Truths would make no sense. This is argument from the believers of objective existence, lower schools. They say that, in other words, they say that if there is no objective existence, things become imaginary. If things become imaginary, then the functionality, cause-effect relationship becomes imaginary. If it becomes imaginary, then the Four Noble Truths become imaginary. And without the Four Noble Truths, how can you say that you are following the teachings of the Buddha? The teachings of the Buddha is grounded on the principle of the Four Noble Truths. This is the argument by these schools. Then what they say is that if you don't believe in Four Noble Truths, look, this is the kind of the regress that they push the Madhyamikas into. If you don't believe in Four Noble Truths, within the Four Noble Truths, the third in the Four Noble Truth is the cessation and the path leading to cessation. These two become the dharmam sharanam gacchami. Dharma is the third in the Four Noble Truth. So without the Four Noble Truths, dharma becomes the nonsensible. If there is no dharma, then there should be no sangha who is practicing this. Sangha becomes impossible. Without the sangha, then the sangha improves and eventually becomes Buddha. That becomes impossible. Then the three jewels become impossible. Right? Okay. Then with the sangha, there are same 8 sangha groups. 8 sangha groups means it's just like the same. Within human beings, there are 2 kinds, males and females. Likewise, the sangha group can be classified into 8. For this 8, we need to know form. What are the form? Stream enterer, once returner, no more returner, and arahant. Okay. One is the first. Let's say 8 sanghas. First, we need to know form. Once you know form, then 8 becomes easy. Stream enterer, once returner, no more returner, and arahant. 4. Okay. So stream enterer means, okay, in a loose sense, Arya and Arhat. We have to make the distinction, Arya and Arhat. So gate, parasangate, bodhisoha. Paragate. What is paragate? The path of go beyond, which is path of seeing. What does mean by path of seeing? When you see emptiness directly, when you see emptiness non-dualistically, this is paragate. So any time you reach that level, when you see emptiness directly, you become Arya. Then in the process you become Arya, then you improve further. And finally, when the self-grasping ignorance is eliminated, then you become Arahat. So the distinction between Arya and Arahat. Arya meaning superior being. When do you become superior being? When you see emptiness directly. This is the mark. Then when is Arahat? Arahat meaning someone who is liberated.
someone who is liberated from samsara. So when you become liberated from samsara, when the self-grasping ignorance comes to an end, you getting it? Okay. So the first, the sangha, the real sangha is when somebody reaches the level of Aryas. Sangha and Arya, these two are synonymous. Sangha and Arya, these two are synonymous. In true sense. So, Sangam Sharanam Gachami. This Sangha, in a broad sense, there are 8 of them. So for that, we need to know 4 first. The 4 are stream enterer, once returner, no more returner, and arahats. Which means that this is analogous to say, if you are going to Bay of Bengal, if you want to go to Bay of Bengal and you don't know where the road is, and if you are in Gangotri, you know where Gangotri is? Huh? Gangotri, I think this is the starting, Yirji. Gangotri is the starting point of Ganga. There's the source of Ganga river Ganges. Source of the river Ganges is Gangotri. So, if you don't know where Bengal is, Bay of Bengal is the ocean. If you don't know that, you just plunge into that river, starting from the Gangotri. You plunge into the river, and this river will take you finally towards Bay of Bengal. You don't have to know the way, right? So first point is Gangotri. So next point is Varanasi. And still next point is, okay, let's say first point is Gangotri, second point is Rishikesh, third point is Varanasi, fourth point is Bay of Bengal. So 4 points, right? If you plunge into the river, the first point, Gangotri, it will automatically take you to Rishikesh. Then it will automatically take you to Varanasi. It then automatically take you to Bay of Bengal. That is your main goal. Likewise, stream enterer, meaning the moment you see emptiness directly, it is like you jump into the stream. The moment you jump into the stream, you are known as the stream enterer first. Then from there, you continue going there. What will happen? You reach Rishikesh. This is like reaching, what is the second? Once returner. When you reach the once return, you continue going, then you will reach Varanasi. This is then you reach no more returner. Then you continue going, then what will happen? You will end up in Bay of Bengal. This is the goal. You will become Arhat. So these are the 4. And these four can be made into 8. Each of them you divide into approacher and abiders. The one who's on the verge to achieve each of these goals is known as approacher or enterer. And the one who actually achieved that is known as the abiders. The 4 enterers and 4 abiders. So these eight become the 8 Sangha members. You get it? Okay. If you get these points, then it becomes very easy. Okay, let's see. Stanza 1. Stanza 1 up to stanza 6. Okay, stanza 1 through to stanza 6 is the position of the opponents of Aranagarjuna, and the opponents of Aranagarjuna who believe in objective existence. They say, if all of this is empty, meaning if everything is empty of objective existence, if all of this is empty, neither would arising nor ceasing exist, then the arising and ceasing cannot be posited. Then for you it follows that the Four Noble Truths would not exist. You're following this now? Very good. And then once you get all this chapter 24 so well within this 4 or 5 minutes, and don't tell others that we studied chapter 24 in 40 minutes. People will be jealous of you. Okay, stanza 2. If the Four Noble Truths do not exist, then knowledge, Four Noble Truths, what are the Four Noble Truths? Truth of suffering, truth of cause of suffering, truth of cessation of suffering, and truth of a path leading to cessation. So what is the first truth? Truth of suffering. So with the Four Noble Truths, what practice should you do? What practices should you do? So with each of the Four Noble Truths, there are different practices.
The first one, with the truth of the suffering, the practice is to know, to have knowledge, to know the. You have to know the truth of suffering. What is the second truth? Truth of the cause of suffering. Truth of cause of suffering. What practice should you do? You have to abandon the cause of suffering. Number two. Then what is the next truth? Truth of cessation. What should you do with the truth of cessation? Truth of cessation is what you have to achieve, or you have to actualize the truth of cessation. Then what is the next truth? Truth of path. Truth of the path is what should you do with that? This is what you have to meditate. So meditate on the truth of the path. Okay. So with this in mind, with this knowledge, let's turn to stanza 2. If the Four Noble, okay, did you get it? Truth of suffering. The first truth is knowledge. You have to know the truth of suffering. Second truth is what? Cause of suffering. This is to be abandoned. Number 2. What is the third truth? Truth of cessation. This is to be achieved or actualized. What is the next truth? Truth of the path. This is to be meditated upon. Right? So these are the 4 practices. With this in mind, page 2. If the 4 noble truths do not exist, then knowledge, abandonment. Knowledge what? Knowledge of the first truth, then abandonment of the second truth, then the meditation of the fourth truth, and the actualization of the third truth. Right? The order is little altered, don't worry. Knowledge of the first truth, abandonment of the second truth, then the meditation of the fourth truth, and the actualization of the third truth would not be possible. If the 4 noble truths are not there, then you cannot practice the 4 noble truths by knowledge, abandonment, actualization, and the meditation is not possible. Stanza 3. If these things do not exist, the 4 fruits as well will not arise. What are the 4 fruits? The fruit of stream mantra, which I mentioned earlier, fruit of the stream mantra, the fruit of once returner, the fruit of no more returner, the fruit of the arahatship. These are the 4 results that the Sangha, the practitioners should be achieving. What are the 4 fruits? What are the 4 fruits? Fruit of stream mantra, the fruit of once returner, fruit of no more returner, the fruit of arahatship. Okay, these fruits. So if the 4 noble truths is not there, then the 4 practices is not possible. Practices associated with the 4 noble truths is not possible. Without practicing the 4 noble truths, the 4 fruits are not possible. If these things do not exist, the 4 fruits as well will not arise. Without the 4 fruits, there will be no abiders in the fruits. Without the 4 fruits, who experiences the fruits? No abiders. Abiders meaning the one who experiences the results. The abiders, 4 abiders will not be there. Nor will there be the enterers who strive to achieve these 4 fruits should be there. So the 4 abiders and the 4 enterers are not there. If the 8 persons do not exist, who are the 8? 4 abiders and the 4 abiders and the 4 enterers, total making 8. If these 8 persons do not exist, the Sangha will be non-existent. Sangha becomes non-existent. Sangha means those people who are striving to achieve this, the goal. So, if the noble truths do not exist, there will be no true dharma. The dharma is not there. What is dharma? What are you going to practice? It's not there. 5. If there is no true dharma in Sangha, how can there be a Buddha? Buddha is the Sangha who evolves further, and finally reach the ultimate state. That becomes the Buddha. And then the Dharma is not there, the Sangha is not there, the Buddha is not there. Next. If one conceives the idea of emptiness, the 3 jewels are contradicted. So this is the position of whom? Whose position is that? The opponents of Aranyarjuna. So they say that if one conceives the idea of emptiness of objective existence, then you cannot possess the 3 jewels. Right? Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is not possible. Number 6. Hence it contradicts everything. So the moment you say that there's no objective existence, then everything becomes imaginary. If everything becomes imaginary, then you can imagine that, oh, this is I'm a Buddha. You can imagine that Does it become? Do you become a Buddha now? If you imagine that you're a Buddha, no. Imaginary means the reality is not there. In which case, then the arising, the phenomena of cause-effect is not there. Without which, stanza 6, hence it contradicts everything, the tenability of fruits, cause giving rise to the fruits, the dharma, non-dharma, and the conventional norms of the world. Say, only if you drive to the left side, then you are on the proper track. In America, you drive to the right side. So all these things become nonsensible. Number 7. Okay, now this is the contradiction pointed to by the opponents of Aranikarjunas. In fact, it should not be thought of outside, it should be thought of inside. That our previous belief without understanding emptiness, with no exposure to emptiness, we believe that things should always exist objectively. So with this belief, somebody says that there's no objective existence, then you think that if there's no objective existence, everything should be imaginary, then nothing should make sense. So this is the position of the opponents of Aranikarjuna who believe in objective existence. Now 7 and down is a response by Aranikarjuna. Right? Look, this is a very powerful response. So how Aranikarjuna would respond is that say emptiness. Aranikarjuna, the Buddha talked about the emptiness. Aranikarjuna explained emptiness. At the same time, the opponents of Aranikarjuna, the rebuttals, they argued, debated against Aranikarjuna, and Aranikarjuna, on the other hand, was just patiently listening to all the oppositions by the opponents. Listening to all these things, okay, now this is what you have to say. Opponent said yes. Then Aranikarjuna said, now it is my turn. Aranikarjuna said, now it is my turn. So you are on the horse. You are riding a horse, and you have forgotten that you are what is the past tense of ride? Rode. So you have forgotten that. What is the past participle? Ride, rode, ridden. Okay, let's say you have forgotten that you have ridden on the horse. You are on the horse, and you have forgotten that you have ridden on the horse. And all these mistakes that you have pointed to me is not a flaw with me. It's an indication of your flaw. This is what Aranikarjuna said. So how? Okay, if things instead of what you said, what I would say the reverse, I would turn the table towards you. If things are not empty, of objective existence, then things should be objectively existent. If things are objectively existent, then things should be independently existent. If things are independently existent, then things should not depend on anything else. If things don't depend on anything else, then things should not depend on the causes. If things don't depend on causes, then there should be no arising. No arising, because arising happens only by dependence on the causes. Say the flower arises by dependence on the causes, the seeds. So where there is no emptiness, if things exist objectively, then things should be independently existent. In which case things should not be dependent on anything else. In which case arising is not possible. If there is no arising, what should cease? Something should cease only if that object has arisen. Something arises and then it ceases. But without arising, ceasing is not possible. Without arising and ceasing, you cannot posit the Four Noble Truths. Because Four Noble Truths is grounded on the concept that with the arising of the second Noble Truth, the first Noble Truth comes into being. Right? And then with the arising of the fourth Noble Truth, the third Noble Truth comes into being. So, for you, in fact, if only for those people who believe that things exist objectively, they cannot posit the Four Noble Truths. If you cannot posit the Four Noble Truths, then you cannot posit Dharma. Without Dharma, there should be no people who can practice Dharma. The Sangha cannot be posited. The four fruits cannot be posited. Then the four abiders and four anchors cannot be posited.
without which the 8 Sangha members is not possible. Without the Sangha members and the Dharma, the Buddha is not possible. So the 3 jewels cannot be possible, right? And then on top of that, if things are all so independent, everything should remain static. So no functionality should be possible. All the conventional realities can be repudiated. Okay, so this is how Aranagarjuna turned the table towards them. With that in mind, so Aranagarjuna, very precisely what he said was that you misunderstood, you did not understand what I meant by emptiness. One, why, actually you are riding the horse and you have forgotten your horse. You have the flaws and you did not see your flaws. The flaw of what? Flaw of all these contradictions are not with me, not is just with you. So all these flaws happen to you because of 3 reasons. One is you fail to know what emptiness is. Number 2, you fail to know the meaning of emptiness. Number 3, you fail to know the purpose of emptiness. Okay, with 3 points, Aranagarjuna rejected the opposition. 1, you fail to know what emptiness is. Number 2, you fail to know the purpose of meditation emptiness. Number 3 is you fail to know the meaning of emptiness. You getting it? In what way Aranagarjuna repudiated or they rejected the position, argument by the opponents? On 3 bases. What are the 3? Saying that you did not understand emptiness, 1. Number 2, you did not understand the purpose of the meditation emptiness. Number 3, you did not understand the meaning of emptiness. Okay, don't forget this. This is so important. 1, the emptiness. Emptiness does not, according to the opponents, emptiness means what? Nihilism. And Aranagarjuna is saying that emptiness is not nihilism. Emptiness is not nihilism. Emptiness is characterized with 5 attributes. And what are the 5 attributes? Turn to page 91. Page 91, stanza 9. Page 91, stanza 9. This is the 5 attributes of emptiness. Emptiness is non-nihilism. So they think that Aranagarjuna is talking about nihilism. So Aranagarjuna is saying that this is non-nihilism. Emptiness is characterized by 5 attributes, which says, not dependent upon another, peaceful and not elaborated by elaborations, not thought without distinctions. How many characteristics are there? Not dependent upon another, 1. Peaceful, 2. Not elaborated by elaborations, 3. Not thought, 4. Without distinctions, 5. So these 5 are the characteristics of emptiness. With these 5 we see the emptiness so profound is not nihilism. Okay, quickly, what are these 5 points? 1, not dependent upon another. Say, the real understanding, the real experience of emptiness, someone else cannot really express to you in words. Not dependent upon another's word. 1. And peaceful. And the experience of emptiness, if you think of emptiness as nihilism, with nihilism, it will not give you a sense of peace. Whereas, if you really get the real experience of emptiness, is so peaceful in your mind. All your miseries drop. Tremendous peace comes to you. Peaceful. And not elaborated by elaborations. Not elaborated by elaborations, meaning the conceptual elaborations. Real experience of emptiness, it is totally free of conceptual elaborations. Then not thought. Not thought, the same. Simply you think about it. Emptiness, you think about it in the form of thought. It cannot really possibly arise in its bare form. And then without distinction, meaning that, say, with the conventional things, oh, there's a tree there, we're in Nalanda, and and then there are so many people here, right? So they're all different things. You just look around, there are flowers there, there are millions of leaves around, there are bushes there. So all this, the diversity is there. And in the experience of emptiness, there's no diversity. So it is the without distinctions, meaning without diversity. So these are the characteristics of thatness. Thatness meaning the suchness or the ultimate reality. So this is what the opponents fail to understand emptiness to be like. Then number 2,
They do not know the purpose of emptiness. What is the purpose of emptiness? What is the purpose of meditation emptiness? Anyone? What is the purpose of meditation emptiness? Liberation. Liberation. What does it mean by liberation? To eliminate the self-grasping ignorance. In what way it helps you? In what way it helps to by eliminating self-grasping ignorance? In what way it helps you? It cultivates wisdom. In what way this wisdom helps you? Afflictions to eliminate. In what way the afflictions, remove the afflictions help you? Peace. This is what I'm looking for, right? And we are all looking for peace. We are all looking to achieve the freedom from the fears of samsara. We are all seeking freedom and peace. So, nihilism, just thinking about, oh, there's nothing there. Do you think that this will give you peace? It will not give you peace. Whereas the purpose of the meditation emptiness is not the purpose of the meditation on the nihilism. This will give you a tremendous peace. Even from that point of view, the emptiness is not nothingness. Number 2. What is number 3? The meaning of emptiness. What is the meaning of emptiness? Anyone? Okay. Meaning of emptiness is dependent origination. Emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence, which in turn means that there is no independent existence, which in turn means that everything exists by dependence on others. Dependent origination is the meaning of emptiness. Keep this in mind. Okay. So, the opponents, they argue against Nagarjuna because of their failure to know what emptiness is, their failure to know the purpose of meditation emptiness, their failure to know the meaning of emptiness. Okay, now Nagarjuna, let's see what Nagarjuna is saying. Stanza 7, page 98, stanza 7. We say that this understanding of yours, understanding of emptiness, how you interpreted my understanding of emptiness, you meaning opponents of Nagarjuna, yours of emptiness and the purpose of emptiness and the meaning of emptiness is incorrect, right? Incorrect. Thus you conceive contradictions in us. The Buddha's teaching of the Dharma is based on 2 truths, ultimate truth and the conventional truth. The truth of worldly convention, which is the conventional truth, and an ultimate truth. Those who do not understand the distinction drawn between these 2 truths do not understand the Buddha's teaching of the profound suchness. Suchness meaning the ultimate reality, emptiness. Okay. Now, without dependence upon the convention, the meaning of the ultimate cannot be expressed. So this is so important. Conventional reality is so important. Things do exist. Things do exist. Without things existing, you cannot explain emptiness. Emptiness doesn't make sense. Without dependence upon a convention, the meaning of the ultimate cannot be expressed. Okay, I have to be quite quick. Without understanding the meaning of the ultimate, liberation is not achieved. So this we already know. Through misperception of emptiness, a person of little intelligence is ruined like a snake incorrectly seized or like a spell incorrectly cast. So emptiness, if you understand that as nothingness, then it is like, say, you're holding trying to remove a snake, and you hold the snake in the wrong way, and the snake bites you. Likewise, you try to cast a magical spell, and then you don't know how to cast it well. You cast it, and then it falls on you. So therefore, if you understand emptiness incorrectly, these are dangerous. 12. For the reason that he knows this teaching to be difficult to fathom to the depths by the less intelligent, the Buddha's mind turned away from giving teachings. He remained silent for how many days? 49 days. 13. These repetitions are not relevant to the advocate's emptiness. Okay, now Nagarjuna saying that okay, all the rejections that you put forth earlier against the adherents of the emptiness of objective existence, they do not apply to us, to the advocates of emptiness. Your faults of denigration of emptiness do not hold true for me. For him to whom emptiness is tenable, this is what now Nagarjuna make a big statement, saying that for him to whom emptiness is tenable, everything becomes tenable. If you accept emptiness, then everything can be explained so well. For him to whom emptiness is not tenable, nothing becomes tenable. Okay. When you impose upon us all your errors, all the mistakes, all the flaws, you are like a man who has mounted his horse and has forgotten that very horse. As you are on the foot, you are mounted on the floor yourself, on the mistakes yourself, and you have forgotten your own mistakes. How? Stanza 16. If you perceive existence of all things in terms of their self-nature, meaning things existing as objectively real, things existing as independently real, this existence of things you will have to view as absent of causes and conditions, because if things exist independently, then things should not be dependent. If things are not dependent, things cannot depend on causes and conditions. So you cannot account for the cause-effect relationship. 17. Effects and causes, and agent and action, and conditions and arising and ceasing and effects will be rendered impossible. You cannot posit all these things. Whatever is dependent in reason, that is explained to be. What is emptiness then? What is emptiness? Emptiness does not mean nothingness. Meaning of emptiness. It doesn't mean nothingness. It means dependent arising, dependent origination. Whatever is dependent in reason, that is explained to be emptiness. That being dependent in destination, this is itself the middle way. Something that is not dependent in reason, such a thing does not exist. Therefore, non-empty thing does not exist. So therefore, anything which should exist should necessarily exist by dependence. 20. If all these were non-empty, now Aranagarjuna going directly into the opposing the opponents. If all these were non-empty meaning of all things, if all these things exist objectively, right? There would be no arising and no ceasing. Why? If things exist objectively, then things should exist independently. If they exist independently, then they cannot depend on causes and conditions. Without causes and conditions, then arising and ceasing is not possible, right? If all these were non-empty, there would be no arising and no ceasing. Then the Four Noble Truths for you would be non-existent. Without arising and ceasing, you cannot account for the Four Noble Truths. 21. If it is not dependently reason, how suffering come to be? So, how the Four Noble Truths is not possible? Now explaining detail. If the cause and effect is not possible, then without the causes, then the result cannot be possible. Without the causes, the suffering in the form of result is not possible. The truth of suffering is not possible. How could suffering come to be? Impermanent, which suffering is thought to be, does not exist in its self-nature. Say, impermanent, suffering, as a part of understanding suffering, the Buddha taught impermanence. So impermanence cannot be explained. Impermanence connotes change. Without cause-effect, change is not possible. 22. When something doesn't exist from its own whole nature, how could it ever arise? It follows that if one denies emptiness, there can be no origins of suffering. So, if there is no dependent origination, then the cause effect is not possible. With which cause is not possible. If not, then the second truth is not possible. What is the second truth? The cause of the suffering is not possible. 23. If suffering exists as self-nature, is cessation. If the suffering exists objectively, then nothing can change the suffering. If you have suffering, you will always have the suffering. You can never stop suffering. You cannot have the cessation of suffering. If suffering exists as self-nature, its cessation could not exist. So if self-nature is posited, one denies cessation. What is cessation? The third Four Noble Truth is not possible. 24. If the path has self-nature, meditation would not be possible. If the path, number 4, fourth truth, if the path has self-nature meaning objectively existent, independent existent, then if it is there, if this path is already there, why should you meditate? It is already there within you. Meditation would not be tenable. If the path is indeed meditated upon, if you say that it has to be meditated, then you have to create the path, which means that it is dependent. Your position of self-nature would not hold true. Okay, 25. If suffering, the first truth, origin, second truth, cessation, third truth are non-existent, by meditation upon which path could one seek to obtain the cessation of suffering? So without the suffering, if you don't have the suffering, why should you meditate to remove the suffering? So the path leading to cessation also not possible. 26. If non-understanding comes to be through self-nature, how would understanding arise? Okay, with the suffering, but then suffering is there. Then you may say, what is it? What should you practice associated with the suffering? How should you practice associated with the suffering? You have to know the suffering. So, do you know the suffering so well now? Okay, let's say no. So, if the fact that you don't know the suffering well, if your lack of knowledge of suffering is objectively real, if it is independently real, then nothing can change that. Nothing can remove it. It will forever remain as no knowledge, absence of knowledge of the suffering, without which you will never come to know what suffering is. 26. If non-understanding of the suffering comes to be through its self-nature, how will understanding arise? That the knowledge, how does it arise? Doesn't it non-understanding exist by virtue of self-nature? 27. Just as understanding, okay, of course we're going pretty fast. Don't worry. Okay, as long as you get something, okay, there is something like dreaming is fine. As long as you're getting something, it's fine. Okay, 27. Just as understanding of suffering is said to be unfeasible, abandoning what? Abandoning of the truth of the second truth, and then actualizing the third truth, and meditating for truth, and the fourth truth also would not be possible for you. For a propounder self-nature, what is self-nature? Objective existence. Since the fruits through their self-nature are not attained, in what way could one attain them? Fruits meaning the four fruits. 29. Without the fruits, there are no attainers of the fruits, or the abiders of the fruits. No the enterers. The four enterers are not there, four attainers are not there. If the 8 kinds of persons did not exist, there would be no Sangha. Now this Nagarjuna is throwing the debate back to them. 13. From the non-existence of the noble truths, would follow the non-existence of the true doctrine. If the Four Noble Truths is not possible, then the doctrine or the Dharma is not possible. Existence of the true doctrine meaning the Dharma is not possible. If there is no doctrine or the Dharma and no Sangha, how could the Buddha exist? 31. For you it would follow that the Buddha arises not in dependence upon enlightenment. For you enlightenment would arise not in dependence upon the Buddha. 32. For you in all those who are not Buddhas, due to his self-nature, enlightenment could not be achieved, even though enlightened practices to obtain enlightenment. Moreover, one could never perform Dharma and non-Dharma actions. So, if things are objectively existent, dependent origination is not possible. Without which, cause-effect relationship is not possible. Without which, actions are not possible. Or impermanence is not possible. Action is not possible. Without actions, then dharmic actions and non-dharmic actions are not possible. 33. Moreover, one could never perform dharma and non-dharma actions if these were all non-empty, all objectively existent, all independent existent. What could one do? That will self-nature action does not exist. For you, the fruit arises even in absence of dharma and non-dharma actions. So then, if you still say that, oh, fruits do arise, then the fruit should arise independent of other factors, independent of the dharma and non-dharma things. 35. If for you a fruit arose from dharma or non-dharma actions, then how could that fruit of dharma or non-dharma be non-empty? If it's no, the fruits do arise. The fruits arise from dharma and non-dharma. Then the fruits are dependent. If the fruits are dependent, how can the fruits be objectively existent? If the fruits are not objectively existent, how can they have a self-nature? 35. If for you a fruit arose from dharma and non-dharma actions, then how could that fruit of dharma or non-dharma be non-empty? If empty is by virtue of dependent arising were denigrated, this will contradict all worldly conventions. 37. If emptiness itself is rejected, no actions will be tenable. If emptiness is rejected, then what? Dependent origination is rejected. Then cause-effect relationship is rejected. Then no actions can be performed. If emptiness itself is rejected, no action will be tenable. There would be action that did not begin, and there would be an agent without action. So let's say generosity. Generosity involves 3 things: the benefactor, the beneficiary, and the act of benefiting, the act of generosity. So without the benefactor, the beneficiary makes no sense. Without the beneficiary, even if you have millions of dollars, you want to engage in generosity, it's not possible. Without the act of generosity, even if the benefactor is there to your right side, and you're on the left side, and you connect, you don't know the presence of the beneficiary. Without this act of benefiting, then the beneficiary and the benefactor makes no sense. So these three are all dependent originated. So the agent, the act, and the object, they're all dependently originated. Whereas if things exist objectively, then things should not, dependent origination is not possible, without which the agent, the act, and the object becomes nonsensible. 37. If emptiness itself is rejected, no action will be attainable. There would be action that did not begin, and there would be an agent without action. 38. If there was self-nature, migrators meaning the sentient beings, would not arise nor uncease, meaning that if things exist as objectively, as independently, then they should not be arising and ceasing. Or the sentient beings, through practice of Dharma, then the sentient beings become Buddha, they become non-sentient beings. That concept becomes totally irrelevant. If they were self-nature, migrators would not arise nor uncease, and hence would assume a static state. Whatever you are, you will always remain like this, a static state without any change. There would be an absence of all varieties. And then say, if there are no causes and the cause and condition, what makes all these things different? Some are bricks, some are the trees, some are human beings. What makes them all different? Because of the different causes and conditions. Causes and conditions gives rise to the diversity, and the diversity cannot be posited without the causes and conditions. So there would be absence of all varieties meaning the diversity. 39. If the world were not empty meaning if the world were objectively existent, then the unachieved would not be achieved. What is unachieved? It will always remain as unachieved, because no factor can make you achieve that. The act of ending suffering and abandoning afflictions would not exist. Whoever sees dependent arising also sees suffering, and whereas, on the contrary to that, if you are able to posit absence of objective existence, you can posit dependent origination. Because of which you can so easily posit whosoever sees dependent arising also sees suffering. Suffering is possible. Then its origination is possible. And then cessation is possible. And the path leading to cessation is also possible. Right? Okay. So from this, we see that finally, if you want to really get rid of the miseries, then it is only through understanding the wisdom of emptiness and dependent origination. Okay, that's great. Yeah. So, very good. So Nagarjuna will be so happy to see that there are so many very brilliant people who just understood chapter 24 in just half an hour. Yeah. Okay. So let's let's do a quick dedication prayer. Oh, let's turn to page 306. Okay, this is the dedication prayer. Okay, indeed, we may think that, okay, we are a little tired, right? So intensely being there in Rajgir, Peak, and now here, a little tired. But I would say that this would be such a memorable time for us in our life, right? And 100% that the pictures were taken. Lop Sangla, who took the pictures, they will give you such a poignant feeling later on, and you will see that, oh, this is perhaps, who knows, there will be all the monastic members, the monks and nuns who are studying here, and yeah, we never know that. Okay, so it could be as Ben rightly pointed out, it could be a reunion out of say 20 lifetimes. Yeah, when the Nalanda University was very active here, and then we may not have been so ardent students, right? And anyway, so then maybe say Nagarjuna, oh, don't worry, one day you will become very active, you know. the participants, and you will all have a school reunion, right? So this is how Ben put it so nicely. We never know. It could be a reunion after like 20 lifetimes. So Ajirji calculated it. It's like 20 lifetimes. So maybe after 20 lifetimes we're all coming together. We never know. Very likely, very likely. So let us pray that simply seeing the ruins, it doesn't matter. Simply it should recall, it should give us a feeling that such a vibrant Nalanda University, which really is such an impact in the life of Bodhicitta and wisdom emptiness, to make oneself so fearless and so compassionate towards all sentient beings. It was once so alive. And now with this seed of the chapter 24 of understanding what the emptiness is, how everything is dreamlike, may I be able to bring this university, bring this incredibly vibrant university, a university be established in great number everywhere in the entire universe. Just feel that, or just invoke that courageous, very courageous state of mind. Okay, so with this light of the wisdom of emptiness, may it proliferate, and may it proliferate in all 10 directions, and may this light of the Bodhicitta flourish in all directions in the minds of all the sentient beings, so that the darkness of ignorance, self-grasping ignorance, and the darkness of self-centered attitude are eliminated from the minds of all the sentient beings, and because of which they experience abundance and happiness eternally, total fearlessness and total very appealing sense of joy and eternal existing. And let us also pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the final source of happiness on this earth today, and what brought us all together here is because of him, no doubt. It's all because of him. You wouldn't believe. If you listen to me, if you really want to spend more time with me, say like another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, and you want to listen as to how this is so, there's a whole, I can explain it in great detail. It's purely because of him that we're all together here, and then the greatest meaning extracted today, on this day, is all because of him. And likewise, he left such impact on the minds of, if not, okay, in the minds of millions and millions of people, let's pray that this great sun lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And let me personally dedicate the merits first gathered, that each one of you, through concerted effort, I pray that each one of you will finally see that the greatest meaning of your life is to discover that everything is dreamlike, and to see that your compassion becomes so unconditional. Your compassion becomes very pervasive towards all the other sentient beings, not seeing any barrier, not seeing any differences, not seeing any demarcation border. So, with your concerted effort, may the experience of Bodhicitta, may the experience of this emptiness soon dawn in each one of you, so that each one of you becomes such a reliable guide to lead all infinite demon sentient beings towards the greatest state of happiness. May the teaching of Bodhicitta flourish in all 10 directions. May the teaching of the wisdom emptiness flourish in all 2 directions in the minds of the sentient beings, present and future. Okay, let's with that in mind, let's turn to page 306. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in the loving kindness of all life and Manjushri, may I find the best of the complete varied parts of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddha's final practice. With compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I discern them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion in whatever directions the most precious teachings have neither spread or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this greatest path to enlightenment traverses completely through the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be separated in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful generous Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha, and lead all beings without exception into the enlightened state. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen arise and grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May in all life, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stations of the path of renunciation, Bodhicitta, perfect view, and the two stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha until attainable enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate mindful awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem, I confess the negativities individually, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings, I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of the Dharma and the beings of the snowland. You are the lotus souls and Tenzin Gyatso, be a sadhikari that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds, all the negative forces of humans and non-humans, who have done marriage through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. Okay, so before we read this, let us also pray that Lama Sopa Rinpoche, who is an amazing great teacher, why I'm specifically saying this is that, wherever I go, say for example in Chogor Sumning, always going there in Bangalore to Chogor Sumning, it is so inspiring to see there's so many young Indians. They can easily go there, and even those young Indians, they personally told me that, oh, it's so easy for us. We want to meditate. We want to know about, say, emptiness. We want to know more about our life. There's a place to go there, Chogor Sumning, and people there, particularly, say, Venerable Raptanla, so accommodating, so compassionate, so eager to share and teach. Amazing. So that way, we see that this is all happening because of course, because of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's the supervision there, and Lama Subramanian's prayers and his efforts, his charisma is amazing. And then, say, Rhode Institute is an amazing place where this is where we are all receiving the benefit. It's a great effort of so many people there. Lama, the Holiness's, the visions, Lama Subramanian's, the groundwork there. And then many of the people like Venerable Kabir, and they say the Venerable Trisha, who passed away, who just worked so hard here. And now we have Venerable Pandanla, the director, the new director, and Venerable Kandula, and then we have Venerable Chambala, and then they say we have the volunteers like the Shabbat, who made all these mics possible here, and we have Kitu there, and who else? There are a number of people there, number of people involved. So Lama Subramanian is just amazing. And then you go to, say, Tushita Center there in Dharamsala. We have Venerable Sabine for so many years, so wholeheartedly working for Dharma, in service of the Dharma, of service sentient beings. and then Trishita in Dharamsala, and then so many centers all over the world of Lamashi. It's very inspiring. So let us all pray that all these great teachers who make the whole Dharma accessible to the sentient, dear mother sentient beings, let us pray that they live long and their wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. Okay, and then now finally, let's pray that the last stanza. So this is a place. This was the place. The final source of the wisdom, the greatest source of the wisdom, which was initially taught by the Buddha, and then later it just thrived in this center. So let us pray that this light of the wisdom be shared with all the other sentient beings, even at the cost of life. This is what we have to make commitment. Okay, let's say this 3 times. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by Ram and Jishri, may people uphold the Dharma in general, and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Throughout our future lifetimes, may always be guided by Ram and Jishri, and be able to uphold the Dharma in general, and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by Ram and Jishri, and be able to uphold the Dharma in general, and the teachings of dependent origination, even at the cost of my life. Okay, now let's quickly seal the virtues that we have generated. Okay, let's quickly think about the emptiness of the self. The person who generated this, the great virtue today. So this person, where is this person? This person, at the moment is meditating. But this person is made of 6 elements. Element of earth, water, fire, earth, which constitutes all the solid parts, the water, the liquid parts, the fire, the body heat, the air which you breathe in and out, the space, which is the empty part of the body, and then finally the consciousness. None of these 6 elements is the self. Okay. Then what about different from these parts? Then taking aside these 6 elements, nothing is left there. It's neither different from the parts. So where is their self from what you're saying? It's not really there. What are you seeing now? I'm seeing these 6 elements. Where's the person? It's empty. Just abiding this experience for a while. Experiencing this emptiness will free us from all miseries, and all the dear sentient beings, unfortunately, they don't see this emptiness. So may this emptiness, experience the emptiness, what are you experiencing now, become so refined and be shared with all dear sentient beings. Okay, let us make 3 prostrations.